I'm Lucy Knott. I farm at Gorse Hill Farm near Kidderminster with my husband Ben and family.
Hi there, my name's Ben Knott and I'm from Gorse Hill Farm here in North Worcestershire. I'm a 7th generation farmer here. My dad is still farming with me and I've also got my young son who will maybe one day take it on. We farm 100 hectares of fields that you can see around us. It's now predominantly arable, but in only the recent past it's been very mixed in terms of diverse cropping with soft fruit and also diversity with the livestock.
We're a 100-hectare arable farm, and unfortunately in the current landscape that is not enough to support 2 families, which is why we have a lot of diversifications and are always brainstorming more. We used to have soft fruit, but we closed that in 2017, and that used to be a public-facing business. Now we have a variety of diversifications. We have a caravan storage business, which is at full capacity. We have our wind turbine, which has a feeding tariff. And then I also run a wedding planning and design business from the farm, which we are slowly integrating more into farm activities with opening up a small marquee site on the farm, which will be running a small amount of weddings each year.
So this here is one of our hedges that are in the BE3 hedgerow management. That was last cut in autumn 21, so that's had 18 months growth on it. And that's to try and, as we can see here, bring more berries to fruit and more flowering species to come out. My wife has already mentioned the number of diversifications we've got on this farm with caravan storage. We do school visits through the stewardship. We also do weddings. And we also got the wind turbine over here. It was our first foray into renewable energies and a slight diversification. We use it to feed the farmyard when we're using high amounts of electricity for grain drying and transport, and the rest of the energy it produces goes back into the grid.
As part of our countryside stewardship scheme, we have ED1 educational access, whereby we open our farm gates to local schools for children to enjoy visits on the farm and get a better understanding of how their food is produced in a sustainable way. So we work with the Country Trust for some of our visits, and they predominantly work with schools who have a high percentage of free school meals and with children who are from more disadvantaged backgrounds. This is typically where our visits from the Birmingham suburbs come from, and those visits are so rewarding and they are probably our favourite to do. We also work with Leaf, who are also regularly looking for farms who can host school visits as well. So there are lots of people who can help guide you in terms of getting your farm ready for a visit and also the kind of activities that you can provide. How our visits work is we take the children on a short farm walk around the farm to show the different varieties of crops we grow and also the different schemes we have in place in order to help support our environment. We also will then come back up. They'll have a lunch break and a chance to run around, because for some of the children from the inner city schools, they don't actually get much time to run around outdoors in the countryside. After lunch, the children will then do some lead activities. And what we'll do is something like a bug hunt, for example, and we have little pots and we'll go around and we'll rummage through the grass and around trees and see what we can find. Or maybe we'll do some wheat grinding or some bark rubbing. It really depends on the age of the children. And then at the end, there's another time just for a little run around, and they'll get back onto their coaches and they'll go back to school. So it's always worth talking to your local farmers who you know might have a CS scheme and see if they've got educational access as well, because working together you could get a nice network of schools which you could potentially rotate across your farms throughout the years.
So this is where we're going to plant some AB9. It's the first time we've planted winter bird food on this farm. So it's a bit of an experiment for us, but we've got lots of advice from friends and locals on how to do it. So we've chosen to do the AB9 partly as a bit of an experiment with something else to do with some of the tricky corners of our farm, but also for the personal interest of the biodiversity that it will bring. In combination with the flowering species over behind us in the AB8, hopefully we'll have quite a big and diverse habitat bringing with the AB8 and the AB9 piled together. So we chose to do the countryside stewardship. We chose to engage with it for 2 reasons. One, to try and maximise the income we could get for the farm on the lower productive parts, so the corners and the hedges where we weren't currently receiving payments. And then whilst we were designing the scheme, we were trying to maximise the biodiversity benefits around what we were doing and to try and use those benefits to help improve our cropping, where we're trying to produce crops with the sort of lowest input system we can.